I cannot hear the sound.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Ultiworld's coverage of the 2022 Club Nationals here in beautiful San Diego. I'm joined by Andrea Romano, not Romano, excuse me, DeSabato. We are here casting Fort Collins Shame versus Philadelphia Amp. Dre, how you doing today?
Doing well. Beautiful. Andrea DeSabato. Yep. Happy to be here.
Thank you for correcting me.
You're good.
I'm getting all my mistakes out early here. Yeah, and we have the top seed in the pool, Philadelphia Amp. They are the 3rd seed overall, playing Fort Collins Sham. I believe they're 10th overall. Amp, the favorite, maybe one of the tournament favorites, Dre. Do you have any thoughts on that team? Any familiarity with them?
Yeah, a little bit. So it's interesting to be on this side of it, but Amp has sort of, been that stalwart at Nationals for years. Was happy to be a part of that program for so long.
And they got a couple back-to-back championships.
Yep.
2018, 2019. You were part of both those teams, I believe?
I was, yep. Very exciting years. And just like every year has sort of like, before that was knocking on the door and just has had the talent, and I'm glad they could capitalize it on those years.
Yeah, and we're seeing some Amp highlights here. And I mean, for you and for this team in the past, I mean, going in with that top seed, I assume, or near the top seed, is that a big advantage mentally? How do you think they're feeling about coming in with that 1 seed in the pool?
I honestly think they don't think about that too much.
It's not on their minds?
No, I think they're like, oh, 1 seed is great, but still need to do work. That's sort of been their MO, is we're not going to worry about if we're 1 or 5. We can, win this from either place, and that confidence is really important to their game.
Yeah, and we were talking to them a bit before the game, and they said the rat dog mentality. Do you have any insight on what the rat dog mentality might mean here?
Yeah, so they also have these shirts that are rat dogs, but I think it originates from Pitt and the Pitt teams, but it is basically we want to grind. We are willing to play when it's messy, in the muck. It doesn't always have to be beautiful, but we will kind of grind it out.
Right, and then on the other side we have Fort Collins Shame capturing the only bid out of their region, 1 of 1. They said they were kind of happy just to be at Nationals, but I think they might be underselling themselves a little bit here. Certainly a very talented team, and in the pregame also they kind of undersold maybe that they were as serious a program as I think they are. I think they're a really good team. Dre, any insight on that?
Yeah, Shame has showed up for years. I think they sort of like that, oh, we're just kind of like happy to be here, but they absolutely have had the consistent talent for the last couple years, making it to a final in 2019. Definitely, winning the region is huge, taking that 1 bid and have the balance to kind of like joke and be there and enjoy it as they go, enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and speaking of jokes, I asked them sort of overarching themes for the weekend. I mean, their first answer was sort of a joke. They said they don't want to lose to Dragon Thrust. I mean, I think there's some seriousness there, but that is what they were thinking.
Yeah, I think, that's sort of like interviews are hard, and it's like, let's say that. And I know we have some matchup notes that actually went pretty well together.
That's right. What was Amp's? What was Amp looking to do here?
Amp wanted to contain Shame's deep shots, and they were sort of like, how do we take that pressure off of us with our defense? Can we stop them? Can we limit those long, full field goals that end points early and quickly? How do we make them play a longer game of possession and swinging the disc instead of vertical attacks?
And we know that Shame wants to shoot those deep shots. They want to stretch that field. They're looking to connect on short points, maybe higher variability here, but the weather, it's a beautiful day, not a lot of wind here. I mean, I don't think they're going to have any trouble getting those shots up because of conditions. Maybe some adjustments on defense from Amp could prevent that, but we'll see how that pans out. And it looks like Amp to start here on D.
Amp is on O.
Oh, excuse me,
That's
Amp is on
Amp's
O. Yeah.
O line, yep.
Yep.
Shame to pull.
Shame to pull here. High floaty backhand. This one is going to stay in bounds, and we're underway here in round 1 of Nationals. A little handler poach here out in the lane. Quick reception here, just moving it down the sideline is Philadelphia. A reset here back to the middle of the field. Amp content with these short shots, but here is a deep look, maybe in a double coverage. I think this is going to be, not quite a hand on the D, but a little overshot there for Philadelphia.
Amp's O-line has a great mix of some veteran talent and some brand new players. Thomas Nye and Will Helinski are 2 rookies on the team, and then you have multi-year veterans in Natalie Bova, Calvin Trissolini, Rahel Mozafari, and Liz Hart.
All right, let's see if the defensive offense here from Shame can pay dividends on an early turnover from Philadelphia. A little stretched out one-legged flick there, finds a reset. Shame also content here in this under space, but as I say that, another shot to the end zone. First break of the game, potentially just off the hand. Huge D from Amp. There's number 181, Sean Mott, getting that one back. Timely leap there.
That's a lot of space on the break side. That's a break side huck for Shame, and really nice put out to space.
Yeah, that step around backhand. Amp here, high stall count. Throws that one out in space to Mott. Mott here in a power position. Goes for a more metered approach here on the near sideline. Shot to the end zone. And Amp has uncorked the first goal of the day. That was Natalie Bova, number 23, pulling that one down.
As you can see, it looks like both teams wants to kind of set the precedent early, like we are going to attack the end zone, we are going to shoot. 53, Will Helinski is just a big body. He is a rookie. He comes from Pittsburgh. I had the pleasure of winning a Summer League championship with him this summer.
Nice.
And yeah, just like having a big cutter presence like that is really important for Amp. And his parents are college athletes. His mom played college basketball. His dad played college football. And so kind of
bit of an athletic pedigree there.
Athletic pedigree, yeah.
We're going to give you a quick replay here of, I believe this is the shot that went just a little too far for Amp, and then we're going to see that D from Sean Mott here in just a second. I like that step around. Yeah, like you said, Dre, that step around backhand huck. I mean, that's a really high degree of difficulty throw, but just a little too far there. And as you mentioned, nice pace on that flick here into the end zone. Both teams, I will note, the shots did come, but they kind of came from midfield, sort of that short huck, not quite a, not a full field bomb by any means. Do you think we're going to see those big aired out 70-yard throws coming up pretty soon?
I do. I think you sort of want to like figure it out in this game. You're in San Diego. You want to see what the field's like, see what the air's like. We're going to take some shots and learn from this game. And Shame's strength is they want to take shots. They'll take the backhand, they'll take the forehand, and they're not scared of one turnover. I think it's not going to change the way they play.
And a nicely paced around flick break there. Pulled down, and here's a shot to the end zone. Shame just on cue, shooting for it, and they find it. A nice connection there. That was number 48, Aubrey Diedrich, pulling it down, and Shame immediately up off the sidelines, enthusiastic. What do you think of that quick shot, Dre?
Yeah, Jade McLaughlin had a lot of room there, made a great cut, and immediately the cutter started going, and I think that's sort of how a lot of these work. Their downfield cutters are ready for on the undercut, we're going to strike, and it'll probably go up, and they had tons of space. The cut from Aubrey went up early, and Jade's throw was just confident, and there was no one in her space. Like, the whole stack gave her that entire room to run with and play with.
And here we get a little replay. Backhand over the top to space. And then I like something I just saw from Amp. Their whole sideline met everybody out right in the middle of the field. They're in a huddle. It almost looked like I thought maybe they're going to call a timeout, but it actually looks like they just got together, figured out their line, got everybody out to their line quickly, efficiently, got everyone's head in the game. I love that from Amp. They recover quickly from being scored on, and they're ready for another point.
Yeah, that's kind of been something they do for a lot of years. It's sort of let's come to the middle, let's center ourselves, quick call the line, and we sort of all approach each other, maybe give someone a high five, and then kind of split from there. But it has also, in past years, people have been like, is this a timeout?
It had the look. It had the timeout
and a lot of people get fooled by that. But I think they've improved on the time that they've spent
that
in that middle.
Very efficient. All right, Philadelphia taken back over here. Spencer DeRoos with the centering pass there.
As you can see, it's a different O-line than the O-line that started the game. And one of Amp's important strengths is their depth, and as you can see, another immediate away shot here. So now it's a shootout.
Henry Ng puts that flick up the line, and a lot of them have come from that similar space on the field here, kind of that near sideline by us at around half field. That's like a nice nice pace 40-yard flick, something like that. And a nice way to get under it for Amp. And they're going to go up 2-1 here. We're on serve, folks.
Absolutely no wind right now, so giving some of these the chance to see how they're going to fly, how we can find the field, find our teammates.
Yeah, no hesitation on that throw. Knew where that one was going right from the get-go. Dre, I wanted to ask you, this first round, what does it feel like from a player's perspective? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Give me the balance here of kind of the emotional state of these players.
Yeah, I think, both teams have been here before. This is not new. Both teams have talked about how they're younger this year than they have in past years.
That's right.
And so a lot of them trend younger. I think with some of that comes a little bit of jitters. You might have a little more anticipation and, what's nationals like. And so this game is huge for sort of getting that out, trying things, getting everyone on the field, giving them a chance to sort of touch the disc, to run a little bit. And that can sort of set the tone. I don't think a loss for either team here means, oh my gosh, we're
the weekend's over.
Doomed. The weekend's over. I think it's just sort of like, let's get out there, let's play it, let's get it under our belt, and then from there we can expand and improve. Yeah,
and on the tournament format here, we'll get into that in just a sec, as Shame has taken over here on offense. And again, it's that vertical stack, big, long, stretching cuts, peeling out from both sides for Shame, but they are finding resets here in shorter throws. That one high, nice grab there. Good elevation by the Shame receiver. And it looks like Amp, a testy throw there, but Shame has worked it down to the reverse brick mark, and they're shooting end zone. Lefty backhand up in the air. Nicely D'd here by Amp. Amp with a chance for their first break here.
Yeah, that shot didn't have as much space as the last one. Again, they're shooting from a little closer and kind of over the stack, so a different type of shot.
And a nice D there, no call. Looks like Shame is going to get Ethan Peck pulled that one down, and picking up here on the end zone in the red zone is Shame. Finds a backhand break to the outside, a little stumble, but recovered. They're just looking to reset into this space right now. Break mark cuts coming. Crafty backhand under the arm of the defender there. And a flick to space, that'll work. It was a little dicey, but Shame converts there, makes it 2-2.
Shame's doing a great job of leaving space on the field for their cutters, whether it's been deep or in the end zone. They've had great stack discipline. That space is allowing so much open room for their cutters on the break side, on the open side, and deep.
Yeah, and on that, I mean, the clears have been coming. They've been sending long cuts up and down both sides on that point, and clearing out that space for their next cutter. I mean, so important. That's that fundamental thing that doesn't get you a stat necessarily, but so important to the success of your team.
Also, the willingness to use the break side early is huge. I think they've shown that, with their huge backhand hook at the first point, even though it didn't connect, and they're kind of pounding the break side. They're not just saying, let's all stay on the open side.
And that's right. We're coming to you live from San Diego, like we said. Sunny today. It's about 72. It's feeling pretty warm. A little bit of wind, barely noticeable, 3 miles an hour. You can see there on your screen. I mean, is this perfect playing conditions, or do you want a little more wind in your life, Dre?
I like some wind personally,
yeah,
but
I like a little wind
I
too.
think this is perfect. For like any type of player, this is the dream.
It levels the playing field for sure. I mean, this is the type of conditions I think you'd see offenses at least operating at their best. But I mean, we've seen some D's going both sides here, and we've seen some turnovers as well. And Philadelphia taken back over, centering past to Raha Mozafari there. And Fort Collins doing a nice job stagnating any upfield cuts here, and a good high stall count. Need to find a reset. Amp does. And it looks like a vertical stack for both teams here is kind of the norm, with big cuts coming. Here's a deep backhand coming up just short of the end zone. A nice layout block there for Shame. That was huge, going up with the right hand.
I think because the depth of some of these shots, that is allowing the defenders to read these on sort of Linda Morse's D. She could tell that it was up the whole way. On that Shame D, same thing. They sort of see it coming and are able to run onto it. There's a lot of space and still room for the defenders to catch up on these.
Yeah, that was Sam Goldstein flying in with the right hand. Now cutting deep, making space for his team. Shame looking deep again to Sam Goldstein. Sam Goldstein, a big right hand, another big play. Resets it back to the middle of the field. Shame knocking on the door of a break here. It's a hammer over the top. Is this going to work? No, rejected. Nicely defended there on the goal line. Maybe a hasty shot there. Just trying to get that break punched in, but Amp with another chance to get their hold here. Maybe it's another Huck. Nope. Just a reset here from Amp. And a poach into the lane. And that will be a D. No call there. And a quick attack here. There is the first break of the game. It's Goldstein connecting with number 52, Nicholas Snuska. Nicely done there by Fort Collins. Dre, what'd you see?
Yeah, so there's a lot of just kind of telegraphing on both sides, it seems. So, you know, Raha looks to throw that long under. That gives the D time to react and then sort of take off. I think both teams are sort of telegraphing these, and that allowed, you know, Mott to get the D on the hammer and the shame D on that undercut.
Yeah, and maybe some familiarity playing a piece there where both these teams kind of know what the other one wants a little bit here, and maybe they're reading their eyes a little bit, seeing their vision and getting out like that poach we just saw. I mean, they were tracking that one right from the get-go before that throw even went up. I think that was in the mind of Snuska. So first break of the game. This one's officially underway here, round one. Oh, yeah, and I did want to talk about tournament format. All these teams are going to get there's 4 pools of 4 teams. Each team is getting 3 games today, playing all their pool opponents. Yeah, like you were saying, it's not over. You lose one, you still have 2 more games today to set the tone. But you do not want to lose all 3 because essentially you're out of contention, right, on 3 losses.
Yeah, it's also great for both teams that trend younger than they have in past years to get this kind of game, and win or lose, you're learning from it either way.
That's right. And nice coverage here from Shame off the pull, making that first throw a little hairy here. I think there was a pick called potentially. Yep. You can hear our stadium announcer, possibly Steve, one of the all-time greats. He's out here keeping us in line. We have observers for this game. Dre, what do you think about having observers here on this first game? Does that help your team, hurt your team? Not a factor at all?
I think it can help. I think some people they sort of rely on that to give them an out, to give them another set of eyes to help them. I know not every game everyone likes observers, but I think in an early game, taking some of that pressure on calls off and away can be important. But I know, you know, part of the allure is that you want the call to yourself. You want the responsibility.
Yeah, and maybe something to be said about the pace, keeping the pace up as well for these teams. Speaking of pace, it's Amp here. Just kind of reset. Not exactly a dominator. They are still running big cuts up the open and break side, but not finding a lot of upfield traction here. Shame's doing a nice job, but speaking of that, there's a shot here. This one's floating. 2 of each team underneath this one. A jostle for position and a nice layout block there. Saves a goal for Amp, and Shame's back on with another chance for a break, 2 in a row potentially.
Seems like a little bit of a lack of patience there. I know they want to set the tone and take shots, but I think just sort of being willing to live in that, okay, we're not getting tons of things, and then taking a shot like that. It's a little bit of a lack of patience, and Shame was sort of ready for it the whole time. Tight, pressured D, didn't get openings.
Yeah, that was Helen Effort, I believe is how you say her name, with the D there. Good heads-up play to readjust while it's in the air. And Shame taking over here, looking for 2 breaks in a row, finding some space here in the middle of the field. It looks like a different stack look, maybe more of a horizontal stack look here, although as they close in on this end zone, might transition here to vert. It's a flick force, but here is a flick to the end zone. Over the top, nicely done. Shame pulls it down, 2 breaks in a row. Maybe breaking this one open a little bit here, a bit of a run for Fort Collins.
Yeah, they are sending cutters early, and it's been really impactful. I think they are that leaving the deep space, sending a cutter early, not always taking the shot. They're sort of being selective, but it seems very smart and working for Shame right now.
Is this time for a timeout for Amp? In reality, is this timeout time, or is this the standard? No,
I don't think so.
Yeah, let them run.
I'm very much of the mindset that just because you go down a couple breaks, you do not always need a timeout to rescue. You might not always have them. You might not. That's just like a personal philosophy, and I know a lot of teams are like, call a timeout. They're going on a run. But I think there's a real value in having to learn in that discomfort, in that, okay, we are down a couple points. How do we figure it out on the field? We might not always need a timeout. Of course, there's a time and a place for a timeout, but.
Well, that was going to be my next question, because this is a hotly debated topic amongst my friends and I. When is the right time? What's the right time for a timeout?
It really depends. For me, I think
What's the great time for a timeout?
if there's like a very specific thing that you need to correct that is helping them lead to their scores, that you need to really send that message, fine. I think call the timeout. If it's just, okay, we want to stop their momentum, maybe there's a time and a place for that depending on the game. In this game, it's early. You want your players on the field to be figured it out. I don't think you need to be rescued by a coach or a timeout. Again, that can be for a later, more high-pressure situation. Right now, there's so much value in allowing them to figure it out and learn from it.
Totally, and it's first game of the day. I mean, it's not do or die like we've been saying. It's 4-2. It's not the end of the world here. A bit of a poach in the lane for Fort Collins to start. Philadelphia looking at a sweeping undercut by Henry. And they have successfully worked it up this forced sideline here to just behind the brick mark. Not looking to do too much here over the top, I don't think.
Shame's defense has been particularly strong in backing Amp. I think like a lot of it is their players are behind. They're sort of giving them that under, probably on purpose, making them get a lot of throws out.
And that was something we thought we'd see Shame do to Amp. Amp do to Shame to back and make them throw a lot of throws, but I think you're right. Shame doing a nice job here with a bit of containment. Amp has thrown a lot of passes, but they are maybe finding some dividends here on the break side. They do. Still not in the end zone, though. Cuts coming from the back of the stack, as well as handler movement right here at the front. And there's the Oyo flick in for a goal. Amp steadies the ship, brings it with their hold back to 3-4. A lot of passes there, Jay.
Yeah, a lot of passes. I think Amp being willing to kind of that point live more in the discomfort, play, okay, this is going to take a lot of passes. We're going to use the break side. We are going to push to that side, and we're not going to try and take a shot until we see it. I thought that was good.
I thought so too. No panic there, really detected. Cool heads. They know they are capable. They're not going to get phased out by a couple breaks here early. And
it seemed like Shame was sort of almost like that's what they were going to push. Like, if you're going to beat us, it's going to be to the break side. We're going to not let you score on the open side, and you're not going to score on an away pass. And so they also seem to do their job on that point, too.
I was going to echo the same thing. I think that's a nice look from the Shame D. Give their O-line a second to rest here, get some legs under the rest of their team, and carry them into this O point, potentially for this hold here. Yeah, body blows. I mean, they're making Amp have to work it out, figure it out. No easy shots, no quick points. So nicely done there from the Shame D line. Couldn't generate a block, but I think you're right. I think they'll take that as a small win. Some crossover here from the Amp line, I think. At least one. At least
Henry Yang.
At least Henry Yang, yeah.
Really young line out there right now. So Henry Yang, Will Helensky, Thomas Nye, Olivia Steinberg, Gabby Kraniak, all of them are very new and rookies to Amp, and all very young players. And we did hear from both teams about the youth, and we've talked about it a couple times, but yeah. I think like being at your first nationals and kind of getting this run is really important.
Great for the experience, and there's a big bid from Ing, just a little bit behind the offensive player for Shame there. I think there is a pick coming through the stack here. We're going to pause here for a second and figure that out. Yep, observer.
A lot of space between the Shame cutters and the Shame handlers. I think they're sort of been two people back most times, and having a lot of that space upfield to really cut into and cut away from has been big. There's not a lot of movement around the handlers.
Right, and without that wind to slow down throws or change trajectories, they can get those big unders just like that one. I mean, a nice 15-yard gainer there for Shame here. High stall count situation, though, nicely bailed out. And Shame now having to work backwards a little bit here, but they have maintained position in the middle of the field and are still finding those nice long undercuts. Not a lot of shots to the deep space, or not a lot of looks, I should say. Obviously no shots, but not a lot of looks to the deep space yet, although there it is, still looking to stretch the field. This one over the top, maybe near the back of the end zone. And it is out the back. The observer is indicating that one was just a bit too far. Nice pace on that throw, but maybe too close in the field for a shot of that magnitude.
And that's one of those shots that you think as a defender, like, they're probably not going to go up, or they're too far. It's probably not going to go. And then to Shame's credit, they still shoot it when the defense isn't ready. And I think, they'll come down with some of those. They won't always be on the back line. And it's super important not to underestimate that they are going to throw some of those, even when you least expect it, even when you think they're too deep.
Nice scoop there by Henry Ying to keep that one off the turf. Amp taking over, looking for their break. I mean, it's the youth movement. Like we said, this is who you want kind of leading the charge for breaks, and this might be a huck to the end zone. No. Amp now near the reverse brick here. Looking to get back in their end zone set, probably exploit some give-goes and some break mark throws here. Right now it's just give-go, give-go. And a tricky scooper over the top there from Henry Ying.
Henry Ying and Will Helinski, both Pitt teammates, both good friends. So they know how each other move. They know how each other cut. They can sort of see that there was a poach-up line. Will made a nice play to hitch back to the middle of that, get the disc. A lot of that pounding up the open sideline and that giving and going is huge, and that's something that, Amp tries to run often, and it's also a bit of a chemistry play there.
Totally. I mean, we can see that two-person game here, and the exclamation point, that scooper over the top, and a little bit of a kick spike here. That break gets Philadelphia back within one, I believe. Still down a break. But that's how you start clawing your way back, get the momentum on your side, and start chipping away and getting back to hopefully taking first half for Amp. I mean, taking the half for Amp, that's what they're looking for. Henry Ying 2 assists, as you can see. And Henry also had a nice scooping grab there to save possession. So good point there.
Yeah, there's been a lot of anticipation for him coming back. He broke his hand this season and kind of came back right as regionals and came back for the series. And so really important player to have back. I know sort of every game that's covered Amp has talked about Henry Ying, but I mean, there's a reason. He's a big body, he's a big presence, he can throw, he can cut. He's just kind of like a Swiss Army knife of talent.
Great all-around player and just so athletic too. I mean, a joy to watch here at Nationals.
Lindsey McKenna on the pull there.
I love that. That's a great pull.
Really, really nice pulls.
Amp looking to cover that one up. Shane finding space here in the middle. Cuts coming from the lookout, both sides of the horizontal-ish stack here. And Shane quickly into the red zone. Wasting no time here, finding open receivers. Looks like it is that flick force, and that will find the end zone. Nicely done by Shane. That was a quick point from them. Their O-line struck quickly and efficiently there, finding cuts upfield and getting resets when they needed. What'd you see there, Joe?
Yeah, almost mirrored the last point. It's, two men in the handler space, a stack being disciplined, willing to give go, willing to kind of fight for that upline open space. It's working.
It is.
Something about the 4 women points, just as a rule note to everyone. So when there are 4 women points, a woman matching player is supposed to pull a disc.
Oh, okay. They did change it.
Yes.
Okay, great. Such a good rule change, in my opinion. Balances things out, and we get to see a lot of pullers we might not have seen in years past who really can rip pulls down. Like that one was a great pull and a good cover by Amp, but nice efficient offense there by Shane. Again, both teams not getting too far out of their comfort zones here. We haven't seen any sort of like zone or even really junk looks here. We've seen a couple of lane poaches, but nothing too extreme as far as alternative defenses. It's been a lot of flick forces and maybe some backing, but any defensive adjustments you might want to make here for either side, Dre?
Yeah, I think Shane can probably try and play a little more even. I think they're sort of willing to take those backing plays and allowing them to contain under. I think they can be a little more aggressive. They have the athleticism, they have the speed. I think if they wanted to kind of play a little more even, that would be helpful for the Shane side.
Let's see if that is something they opt for here. We'll try to make a note of that, what defensive look they're getting. Not a super fast coverage there by Shane. They are poaching those lanes a little bit. And it's looks to be sort of a flat force, stop any big hucks here. Maybe a slight trend towards the forehand. Philadelphia, quick movement here on the far sideline and a shot to the end zone into double coverage. Oh, just a jump slightly too early. Sean Mott finds the space right in between the defenders and pulls that one down pretty easily.
Yeah, I think those are some of the ones that's like maybe looks ill-advised, but that's a receiver that you're going to throw those to in Sean Mott. And Calvin Trissolini is never one to shy away from creative looks and kind of testing the defense there.
Looks like timeout is going to be called here by AMP. What do you think about this one? Is this one fit, Dre? Is this a good timeout?
Honestly, it fits for AMP a little bit.
Okay.
Some of the unconventional timeouts, it's like, oh, we went on a run and we're actually like just brought the game to a tie. We'll call one anyway to sort of regroup and set and talk about something anyway.
Yeah, tie it up. Maybe put a really strong line out there, hunting for a break here. Do you think they're going to switch up lines a little bit here? Maybe make an adjustment for maybe that youth movement again?
Yeah.
Seen that replay there. I really like the shape of that flick. I mean, put it where the defender had a really hard time reading it. Went up early, couldn't get to it. As you can see our drone footage. We love having the drone out here. It just looks such great shots of the landscape and these teams. You can really see the offense unfold, and we get a nice timeout perspective here too. Doesn't hurt.
Another difference is you can see the entire AMP team is in the timeout, whereas Shame, it is only a couple players, only the next line.
Yeah, great point, Dre. I mean, they kind of just sent their 7 out to get out onto the field and just get ready for the next point. And while they're doing that, we're going to take a little station break and say Breakmark is on a mission to give away free reversibles this year. They're about to hit 1,000 and are targeting 2,500 next. Help them achieve their goal and earn chances for fabulous prizes with each goal met. Find out how you can get yours at breakmark.com. Yeah, and I think we've settled in here. I think both teams feel pretty settled in. Go ahead. You had something you want to say, Dre?
Just a correction to my earlier point. So for women, you do not have to pull. I know they're playing with that rule, and so I thought it was instituted, but for women matching players, I think you can still pull as a man matching player, but they are toying with that rule.
Yeah, they implemented that at one of the WIFTIF competitions, maybe both WIFTIF competitions this year over summer.
Yeah, I know there's been talk about putting into USAU, so I just wanted to make sure I corrected that you can still, anyone can pull even if it's a 4-woman matching line.
And we see Henry with the pull there. I think they may have instituted it in full at one of the earlier tournaments this summer, maybe at US Open or Pro Flight or something like that.
Yeah, I think they're testing it out still, so I thought it was live.
I think it's a good change, personally, so I like seeing it. That pull just out of bounds there on the far end zone. First out of bounds pull we've seen today, actually. Both teams have had nice pulls, nice covers for the most part. And it is a lane poach here for AMP to start, and a vertical stack for Shame, and they are going to find a big undercut there. Resets it back to the middle of the field. That was Kevin Johnson with the throw off the initial cut. No one in the backfield here, and Shame does need a reset. Nicely done. Well fielded by Fort Collins. Casey Wu threw that one, but there was a call, a pickup field, so it looks like it's going to head back to Casey here. Not sure what the stall count is. I think they're going to talk about it. Paul Owens there on the mark. He was impressively up the field helping out his team already there. Gets to walk it back to the mark here. They tap it in. Maybe a nice dump D there from AMP.
It's still very much a contained defense, very much we're going to push them under, make them play in a small space, be behind them, make them throw a lot of throws. So they're sticking to their game plan of not wanting them to just strike deep immediately.
That's right. And, I mean, no surprise here. It has been, it's a scoober. I was going to say they've had pretty conventional looks in the end zone, but then a scoober up over the top for Shame to convert that one 6-5. Not the wildest look, but certainly not a standard throw there. A little extra sauce on that one.
No, but I think with the space that Shame is creating for their cutters, a throw like that doesn't feel as risky because it's like, I just need to get it there. The person is in space without a highly contested defender nearby. So it might seem unconventional, but the way that they're spacing their end zone cuts and their timing has been just allowing these pretty much any throw to go that direction.
Yeah, in addition, the conditions are pretty conducive for some over-the-top throws. It's not going to get knocked down by the wind, or things aren't going to get too weird there up in the air. So you see that righty scooper kind of trends back towards the thrower. Easy grab there for Shame. Shame sideline, you can see there trying to keep cool. It is a pretty warm day here, and I think it's going to keep warming up as the day progresses. What's the strategy for staying hydrated, for staying cool? What are you telling your teammates on the sidelines? Are they running back, making sure they get as much water and shade as they need, Dre?
Something I've always heard is eat before you're hungry, drink before you're thirsty. Kind of don't wait, because if you've waited, that's too long.
Too late.
That's something that Patrick Sherlock has kind of stressed for a lot of years, and it's really good. It's, you got to kind of think about it even before. You got to force yourself to do it.
All right.
Shade and sort of the bucket hat is also a huge, huge tool that I think has grown in the past couple years.
More than just a trend, folks. It's utility, that bucket hat. All right, Amp taking over here on offense, and again, it's a contain here from Shame, making them find these little short under throws. Deep space is being exploited though here by Amp. This one out to space. Oh, wow, what a D over the top, but I think there may be a call here. A leaping D from the Shame defender. Pleading her case here to the observer. If they go to the observer, I didn't get a super clear view, Dre. Do you have a read on if that was a foul? Not?
No.
Okay, we're going to listen in just
Yes.
a second.
Do you want to go to the observer, or do you want to keep it foul contest?
I mean, I can go to you.
Do you want my perspective?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. My ruling is that it was a foul. You bumped, and you went through her to get that D. So it's going to be offense disc here. Here, I'll get it.
I think seeing that on the replay looked like the right call from the observer. A lot of contact over the shoulder there and into the body after the fact. Pretty close one, though. Dre, what was your read on that?
Yeah, I think it's really close, especially that back line. It's sort of like, how much room did she have? The defender had to make the play at that moment, so absolutely do not sort of fault her on that. It was just
Agreed.
Unfortunate that her hand happened to hit her shoulder on the follow-through, and that is the rule. You're not allowed to do it. But a good play, a good way to catch up to that long shot.
Yeah, nicely resolved quickly there. And speaking of which, I think that those toes are going to be in for Amp as they're going to punch that one in, tie this game at 6. Yeah, I think a nice, quick resolution from the observer, and the right call was made, and Amp punches that in. What do you think of the shot, actually, preceding that? Was that a shot you liked? Was it a little too much same sideline for your taste? Maybe a little much for my taste.
I don't love the same third shots, to be honest, but I think when you have a cutter as powerful as Linda Morse, who can come down with the disc, can read, is just super solid there, you're going to take that risk to that player. And, it's a good shot. It works. It's well before the end back line, actually.
Yeah,
much easier to see on the replay.
Second look at that replay. Really athletic D, but yeah, Gimme said just a little bit too much contact maybe, and the observer made the ruling there. So.
And if you notice on the end zone play there, when Linda Morse brought it to the end zone line, it was a 4-woman matching, 3-man matching point, and all 4 women were at the front. So Linda Morse had it. Rahama Zafari was her front of the stack, and it was sort of all women matching up front and man matching towards the back. That allowed a lot of space for the women to kind of score that break to throw the around. And that's something that I think, Amp has been credited for years. I don't think this is any specific bias. I think it's sort of like they want to play through their women. They are incredibly talented. Let's put them in a position where we can highlight them and feature them.
And a great highlight right there. I mean, you saw Raha's toes. Great body awareness there to punch that one in. All knotted here at 6s. Shame taking over on offense. Again, it's that sort of flat lookout. Flat mark here from Amp. Pushing Shame out towards the sidelines or towards resets. Nice up the line cut there with pace. A power position throw potentially coming. Yes, but maybe a second too late here. Nice adjustment by the Amp defender. Gets in front and makes that one really, really difficult for Shame. I think there was just a slight hesitation on that throw.
That one, that's definitely too much same third for me. That was too
Same
much
10th.
on the sideline.
That's right.
A good D by Olivia Steinberg there, making sure that she was in the play, even though it was a tight window there. And that's one of their top receivers. I mean, Jade McLaughlin for Shame is just a dominant cutter and receiver and
super athletic.
Super athletic. So you got to put pressure on her sort of everywhere she goes.
A nice double move there from Amp in the lane, but it is a reset here. Looks like their stack is forming up, and just over the top there, slightly too high for Philadelphia to handle. They had a chance at the break to get back on serve, but Fort Collins here shooting to the nice switch of the field and shooting into the end zone. Big matchup here. Henry Ng, big D with the left hand, comes through. Not much doubt that one was going to get D'd from our perspective.
Both teams really liking that sideline over there right now. In the beginning of the game, I thought there was like okay, we'll use the break side, we'll swing it, we'll throw it around. Now it's like we're going to shoot to the same corner.
Is it nerves? Is it we think we can get this point done quickly, so let's try?
I think it's a little bit of lack of patience. It's,
okay.
We want to end this point. There's been some turnovers. It's been a little bit long. Oh, there's a tiny hole. I'm going to shoot for it.
Speaking of a shot, this one going up, a flick trending over to the left cone there. Nicely read by Amp, pulled down, and that is going to give them their break to bring it to 7-6 advantage. Back on serve. Not a huge blow here to Shame. What'd you see on that huck there?
Yeah, I think, Lindsay McKenna took the space, and obviously the huck floated a bit. There was decent coverage by Shame. They were very much in the frame, in the mix, and just her length and athleticism allows her to be able to read that and catch that, and has a lot of experience in that role.
Yeah, I think her disc reading abilities paid big dividends there. You can see she's got the space in front and just contours her cut nicely to get to that right spot where she can reach up and grab that one without a big contest from the Shame defender, although got pretty close. Two defenders got pretty close, actually. I'm not giving them enough credit there for closing that gap. All right, we're back on serve. What do you think? Are we going to see a couple trades here into the half, or do we have another break coming this first half?
Yeah, I think so. Amp right now seems to be going with a more veteran D-line to kind of put this away, take it to half. It's a mix of talented O and D players, so it's sort of like if we get this, we're also going to score on it. And yeah, I think it's very much intentional.
Can I ask you a quick question about the coaching staff of AMP? They're bringing out a coach in front and behind on these lines, on these end zone calls, like right before the point starts. What is one coach adjusting? What's the other adjusting, if you know?
Yeah, this is newer, actually. So in the past, AMP has pretty much had one coach in Patrick Sherlock. We had Matt Zumbrum for a couple years ago, but the two assistants is very new for AMP, and I think they sort of are. One is going to do matchups. One will say, you cover this person, and one is going to, just talk a little more strategy.
General strategy?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you. Good insight. Oh, and a bid here from AMP trying to claw that one out of the reset. Shame here working again on this near sideline. There's the same third huck up over the top. Pulled down just over the outstretched arms of the AMP defender.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Shame. They're not going to sort of change their game. They're going to say, you know what, I see that the defender's there, and I'm still going to trust my teammates to come down with this. This is the game we play. We're not going to divert from that, and we're going to take these shots. So far, they're working.
I believe that was number 9, Sam Goldstein, pulling that one down. Again, we've seen him in the end zone a couple times making athletic plays on offense and defense today. All right. Nice replay there. There's Sam. A goal, 2 assists, and a block. Nice little first half stat sheet for Sam. Is this a timeout on the Shame side? I don't think so, actually. Looks like they're going to probably want to get their best foot forward, though, here. Try to take a break into half as it is 7-7. We'll be into halftime break shortly here. All right, we got some highlights coming in from the first half. Adam Grossberg here is going to be highlighted here. Has been all over this. I mean, he's been such a strong cutter. I mean, he's been really working this Shame defense and nice little tricky throws there as well. Dre, what do you think about this?
Yeah, Adam is a really creative player. Second year on the team, is also really valuable in terms of he can throw, he will huck it, he will lay out everywhere. He's just a super athletic young asset to this team, and really brought some life last year when it was my last year playing, and it was great to have him. And you can see how he's kind of grown into that role a bit and is able to just get the disc more and just play with that confidence.
Yeah, and they're tasking him with big jobs. I mean, he's the initiating cutter in some of these points. He's looking to take those deep shots in some of these points. I mean, a lot of dynamic looks from him. I've been just really impressed with his way he changes direction. I mean, super simple things, but he's changing direction and pivoting with a lot of force, and very fun to watch here. All right. This point, again, this is 4-half here, knotted at 7s. We are back on serve here. It's a little IO backhand here to that near end zone cone, and Amp will take over right around the brick mark.
Amp setting up in a horizontal stack there, and I know that's something that typically Amp is not known for, but this year I think they've made a concerted effort to go for that horizontal stack setup. Here's
Mott, lefty flick over the top. Oh, I think that was touched by the defender of Shame. That was number 15, Spencer Tibbs. I think maybe got a hand on at least. Got in the way of the vision of the receiver there. Great effort here from Shame to prevent Amp taking the half. And here's a shot. It's a hanging flick. There are 4 Amp defenders on this one. I think they're probably going to get to it, and they are.
Liz Hart really coming in from out of the play there, reading it.
Great heads up by this Amp line, putting 4 bodies to the Shames 2 there. I mean, that numbers advantage is something you always want to see out of your squad, and it's going to pay dividends there on floating balls up into space. Speaking of which, here's another one up into space for the half. Looks like Amp is going to walk it in and take it there. Nice flick to space there. Sean Mott walks it in, gives himself a little slap with the disc, passes it off for a little combo spike there. 8-7 here. Amp taking the half on serve. They got it back to serve. There was 2 early breaks there from Shame to get it, I believe, to 5-3. I want to say. Maybe 4-2, and then Amp working their way back in and showing why they're one of the top seeds at this tournament.
Yeah, that's one of those that I referenced earlier. Sean Mott took the space early. He saw that he was playing under, maybe an unconventional throw at that timing. It's sort of like, is anyone going to throw it? Has that turnover here, but then is just ready. Like, okay, I'm going to cut through at the next point.
All right, folks, we will be back shortly. We're going to get you with a little break. Grab yourself a beverage, and we're going to go back onto the field with Chris Mazer interviewing one of the coaches, I believe, here in just a second.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change
around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young
and still a perfect circle
of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network
before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias
and understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we
pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
All right, folks, welcome back to Ultiworld's coverage of 2022 Club Nationals. We have Chris Mazer on the sideline with Shame's Ryan Morgan. We're going to cut over to them and get a little perspective on this first half.
Really fast-paced first half. What do you think of that pacing? Is that a benefit to is that a benefit to your team, or is that a benefit to AMP?
Well, the pace of play is really just that's how we generally play anyway. So it's kind of fast. We put it up there. We play. If we come down with it, great. If we don't come down with it, we'll just do it again next time. So we're not going to change the pace of play, if that's your question.
Okay. Not exactly, but great. Great response. Fantastic. What do you think this huddle that you're having right now? Is your team talking about adjustments? Are they talking about the party later? What are they thinking about most in this moment?
Well, we're missing our a guy named Harrison, who's like we have determined is going to be the coach, and he's reluctantly fighting it. And I think we're all talking about how the score right now is really Harrison's fault. And that if he were here, we would probably be up 8-0.
Incredible. And can you talk about Sam Goldstein a little bit for me? He made a couple of amazing plays. He seems like the most athletic player on your roster right now. Does that check out to you? Are you looking to see more contributions from him, or is this a full team game for your squad?
I've been really impressed with Sam. I met him about 3 weeks ago, and this is his first Nationals. So I don't think he understands that quite yet. It hasn't quite hit him, which is why he's playing with such confidence right now, and I'm glad to see it. So hopefully we can keep that delusion going for him, that this is just, you know, this is a normal tournament for Shame in Nationals a little later in the year. Don't tell him.
Okay, I'll try my best. Thanks so much, Ryan. Good luck in the second half.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, folks. As you heard there, Shame, I mean, a little deadpan humor, but we're going to take it to break here. Grab yourself a snack. We'll be right back.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds, defy the naysayers,
and even defy gravity.
A place where it's accepted that success
doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave, to the determined.
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust.
Learn to high-five strangers.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play Ultimate, we live Ultimate.
All right, folks, we are back here. Second half, Philadelphia AMP versus Fort Collins Shame. AMP did squeak it out there, and we're going to take a look at our stats there. We can see AMP squeaked it out 8-7 there to start. 6 holds to 5. Anything that jumps out at you on stats here, Dre?
Just how similar they are.
Yeah.
There's, you know, it's been a pretty fast-paced game. They're sort of like, it's like who's playing to whose speed. They're sort of playing to each other. It's like one takes a shot, then the other's going to take the same shot. They're sort of like who's going to beat the other at their own game, and just really similar in terms of turnovers, holds. I think that's why the game is the score it is.
Yeah, and we heard Chris Mazer on the sideline there talking to Ryan Morgan just a second ago. I mean, he asked him about the pace. Are you going to slow down? Are you going to speed up? Are you playing the pace you like? And I mean, hard to get a straight answer out of him, but it seemed kind of like they like the pace they're playing at. I don't think they hate their position here going into the second half.
Ultiworld also caught up with Spencer Tibbs before the tournament, and he mentioned that they really like playing from being down, and that's something that like does not mess with them. They are very comfortable playing from being down a couple scores, that's something that doesn't worry them.
Speaking of which, they might be down a couple scores here as an early drop there from Shame off one of the first couple throws there. Puts Amp on the end zone line here. A chance for an easy break out of half, excuse me. And they will find it. Nicely converted there. That was 88. Paul Owens pulling that one down. Who threw that one? Was that Lindsey McKenna?
Lindsey McKenna,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just an early mistake there from Shame. I mean, they're playing from behind, and maybe that prophecy is a little self-fulfilling here. But this is, like you said, where they might be comfortable here in the second half. So all is not lost, but Amp happy to take a pretty short field there and get a break, as you can see just off the tip of the hands there.
Yeah, and Lindsey McKenna not rushing this here, sort of seeing her options, communicating with their fakes, and then finding an open Paul Owens. Rachel Alfano being a really disciplined next cut in the stack, not taking that space, allowing him to have it, and then if he clears, it's hers. It's the spacing has been really good for both teams.
Both teams, yeah. And you can see there Paul Owens getting face guarded a bit, gave it kind of a step to the right, and then a move back to the left there to get open. Defender couldn't see where the disc was exactly, so nice pace there from Amp on the end zone. Not playing too fast, playing at just the right speed, I'd say. All right, we'll see if any adjustments are made here for the Shame O-line. Amp with the full coaching suite out there on the line, getting them ready for this D point. Hand is up, though, so they're going to have to pull this one here in probably about 10 seconds. Coaches are going to have to hustle off there, as you can see.
Yeah, that's a lot of voices. Can be a good thing, but can also be...
It might have been a delay of game call. I don't know. No, I think they were fine. I thought maybe the observer on the far side was indicating delay of game. Either way, that pull is out of bounds, so Shame will take over here on the brick mark.
As you can see, Sumi Onoue is taking the full lane right now, leaving her person in the stack and taking that away in case Shame did try and strike immediately off the centering, off the brick. There was a person in that lane ready for them saying, you know, we're going to have this place. You're not going to get the first shot at it.
And Shame correctly identifies that, does hit that person in an undercut, and then now kind of in a close. There's a hand block, though. Off the hand. Nicely done there. That's Will Helsinki.
Helensky, thank
you. Helsinki's a place.
Also a little finger wag from Will as well.
A little Matumbo, maybe?
A little spice.
I don't think anything too far out of the ordinary there. Nice bit of competition here. Ooh, slight slip there from Amp. I think there is a pick upfield here, slowing down the pace of play, and the observer is going to pop in here and help them determine the stall count. I believe it looks like it's a 4. So coming in kind of a high stall count. Might have to be a reset look here for Philadelphia. And a bit of discussion here as well. Let's see if Shame can get this D back. I know they're not going to want to start this half getting broken twice in a row. But here is a shot. That one too low, and Shame will get that one back. Nicely defended here.
That's good communication from Shame, too. The up call allows Aubrey to turn her head exactly at the right moment and catch that so they don't have to, you know, knock it down and then play from the ground.
Oof. And there's another huge D from Will, and a timeout. Quick timeout there from Amp on this near sideline with a chance for a break. All right. Does that timeout meet the standard, Dre? Is that in the book? Is that in the bag for timeouts?
I think it's okay. You know, I might not have called it myself, but, you know, Danielle Walsh, very experienced player, very smart player, comes from playing collegiate basketball, kind of can read energy, knows how it feels, and I think she sort of is like, all right, there's been a couple turns, let's do it.
All right, we're going to take another look at that handle off from Helensky. There it is off the left hand, nice and low, good wide mark there, making that look much more difficult. And there you can see the finger wag, a little sauce there. And here's this this lefty flick goes just a little too high, and a huge athletic play there from Will. I mean, never really giving Sam Goldstein a shot at that one. Nicely
yeah, we talked about Will's size a little bit, his, you know, genetics coming from two very athletic parents.
That's right.
Just uses his size really well to kind of be a power thrower, can also you know, on the mark there, getting that block and then that jump. Sort of very versatile and uses his size very well.
You know, and what's interesting is he's actually going to set up here at the front of the stack. He's not going to be one of those initiating cutters. He's going to maybe set the pace here for Amp. Or it could be a curl cut right off the front for him. I'm not sure, but interesting place to put maybe one of your most athletic cutters is right here in the front of the stack. So we'll see how that plays out here. It's about to get tapped back in by Shame, and we're back underway here. And it's a huck right off the rip. This one maybe too far out of bounds. Yes, nicely defended there by Shame. I don't know if that one was ever going to make its way back in. The intended receiver was Adam Grossberg. So Shame looking to take over here on the cone.
Makes the timeout look not as
yes.
a very specific play
point.
call. You know, that wasn't just sort of like a regular in motion huck. That's, you know, they set up to do that, and sort of off a timeout, that can be a tough momentum shift.
Shame, a lot of space out here in the deep lanes. They stretched this field out in a nice find here to the near sideline. Shame with a lot of space here. Working the disc nicely to about half field. There's that flick over the top. Oh my goodness, what a bid. Soaring there was Grossberg. And a nice cut for separation here. Shame, no one really dedicated to the backfield right now, and in fact, it's a mistake. It's an overthrow, maybe a foul on the throw. Yeah, it looks like there was a foul called on the throw. It looks like there was some contact as Ryan Morgan stepped through there. He's discussing it with the defender. They may.
No contest.
Yep, we're listening in here. No contest.
Saying one. Foul called, no contest, saying one.
A quick resolution there as well. Good spirit so far. Wouldn't expect too much chippiness here from either of these teams. Very experienced teams. And there is a quick conversion from Shame. Punch that one, and that's Sam Goldstein again. Seen him quite a few times already in that first half and making a mark here on that second half. Amp 9, Shame 8. A bit of a back and forth point there. Some mistakes on both sides. There's that big bid. Huge athletic play. Couldn't quite put a hand on it though. And there's a nicely weighted backhand out for the goal. How do you think the teams are feeling now, Dre? Do you think they've settled in? Do you think those first half jitters, to be honest, I didn't detect a lot of jitters on either side. There was some impatience, but I feel like definitely at this point they've settled into their game plans.
Yeah, I think they're mostly settled. I think, you know, it doesn't seem like too many nerves either side. It's been pretty just back and forth. There's not a lot of the points, even when there has been a couple turns, they haven't been that long. They've been pretty quick conversions. And so I think, you know, I don't think either team is overly tired. I don't think they're overly stressed anymore. I think it's just sort of like, you need plays. You need to stop them. It's just score and answer back, score and answer back.
Yeah, high pace of play like we've mentioned on the broadcast, as Shame is pulling this one left to right here to Amp. Nice pull there. Right in the middle of the back of the end zone. And a good coverage here by Shame, and a slight misstep. Shame with a chance for a short field and a quick break here. Could level the playing field. A backhand to space, nicely D'd by Amp. No chance for that one. Short field squandered here by Shame. I think they want that one back because that could have been a chance for a quick conversion.
Yeah, that was the one they needed to kind of take their time on. And Natalie Bova had a great read on that, covering the break side,
yeah, the whole
running through the play.
And it looks like that vertical stack you mentioned is the look here for the Amp side. And here's a huck over the top. Maybe a bit too much on this one. Yeah, it's slightly outpaced is number 22, Liz Hart. Good idea. I think there was definitely a look there. Liz Hart had separation, but just maybe a little too much on that throw.
Yeah, Liz, one of the fastest, most dynamic cutters, can run down a lot of discs, can make plays. So had the steps. a decent shot. I don't think it was too rushed, just execution.
That's right. Shame taking back over here. Good pressure here from Amp upfield, although a big inside-out flick for yardage there for Fort Collins. Again, no one really dedicated into the behind the disc space here for Shame, but they do find a reset to the break side backhand there. Again, it's kind of a flat mark, maybe limiting, there's a big bid from Amp, maybe limiting those deep shots, although now at about half field, here comes a huck to space. This flick turning over left to right to left, excuse me, and pulled down. Fort Collins converts.
I think some of those bids by Amp have been, you know, there's like a couple that, okay, we're just going to bid. It looks like we're just kind of trying to show that we're there, but they've been a little late and a little bit not really close, and then they just can kind of throw whatever they want after that and take the field and take the huck, and it gives them a reset with no mark on them. And I think, you know, you don't need to do that there. I mean, it's close, but it's sort of late, and he has it the whole way. Yeah, and then that's just sort of an over-the-top put to space.
That flick that's traveling right to left away from the defender, so hard to, you can't really turn over your shoulder either way and get a good view at it, so it's going to favor the offense there big time. The defender was good to get up quick and put that mark on, but didn't provide enough pressure maybe to make that huck not so viable, so easy. So yeah, I think the bids are, there's a line, right, between firing your team up and showing you're there and putting pressure on the offensive player, but then maybe getting a little behind the play because of it. So maybe an adjustment we will see here as this game winds down. 9-9 here. As you can see there, the cap is counting down. We're at about 27 minutes left in this round. I think they're 2-hour rounds, is that right? 2 hours total, maybe an hour 50. And if that cap goes on, it will just be +1 to the highest score, and that is what we're playing to. So this pull looking to just trend out. Amp will take over at the brick mark. What do you want to see out of this Denver Shame D-line on this point, Dre?
Yeah, like I said before, I think they can sort of be even with them, make them take some of these shots, and Shame has the athleticism to kind of catch up, make Amp play a long point, make them throw a lot of throws.
And Amp also, no one really dedicated to the backfield space at this point, although now we will see a reset cut here in the upline space, and there was a pick called upfield. It's going to slow this one down, but I think it is a pretty high stall count situation here, maybe around 6. Tap back in, a big lefty around flick there to space, nicely fielded by Amp. Changing that field, giving him a lot of space to work with here. Amp content with these horizontal shots here, keeping the stall count low, and a lot of cuts coming. This is more of a horizontal stack. No, maybe it's more of a vert as they get closer.
I think it's a hybrid. I think it's Amp likes to run a hybrid stack. Looked a little bit of that nature. I think as they get closer, they're sort of in a jumble. A lot of break side use though.
Yeah, there's another around flick to space. These lefties really opening up the field for this Amp O line. Nice double cut, lefty backhand flip right in front here. This could be a conversion. Nope, still knocking on the door is Amp. And there's a flick to space, a lot of pace on that throw. 2 Amp players into the space, and they may have kind of collided at the same time on that disc. Hard for me to see here from my angle, but either way, a turnover and maybe looking to shoot is Shame. This one up in the air to the large receiver. Oh, a slight misread, and it just flies over the top. Amp's going to get another chance to take back over. Quick shot there from Shame, Jared.
Yeah, nothing that we're surprised about. We know they want to play that style. They sort of have had a long D point. They've contained for a long time. They're like, let's stretch the field out. We're going to turn it. We're going to gain a lot of yards quickly. And it was a good shot, just, again, poor execution.
And we're back to shooting here. Amp looking end zone, just on the doorstep, not quite in there. A step out. A little 2-on-3 advantage, though, for Amp here in the end zone. No mark. Mark finally put on here by Shame. Good patience there from Amp. Could have a look here to the backhand break side. We've seen a couple of those Oyos converted as well with the Oyo flick, and it was a travel called there.
Yeah, the shot to Linda Morris really opened up the deep space, and again, super patient on that end zone. We saw Max Charles be really patient the point before. Standing on the end zone, I think they're doing a really good job of kind of holding it, waiting for the right cut.
Yeah, we saw Linda, again, Linda very patient there, waiting for the right cut to develop and find the reset, not taking any unnecessary chances here, knowing that this is a crucial point to score here. Nice pivot on the mark. Was it in? Yes, it was. Amp with an athletic toe of the line there to keep that one in bounds and convert their goal. 10-9 here. Dre, that was close.
It was very close. Two people cutting the same spot, Linda and Danielle Walsh, and Walsh makes the play. Really nice footwork. Again, we talked about sort of her veteran experience, her athleticism, coming from another sport like basketball, just able to make the grab and the play. I think she really wanted that one after this mishap right here.
Very close. Both hand players got very close, and you can see that right toe stay down through possession. Super great body control there. Great shot there from our drone operator. Amp converts. 10-9 still in the driver's seat here. About 22 minutes here left in the round. I think we're probably going to get this one if the pace stays similar. That was one of our slightly longer points, but if the pace stays up, I think we're going to get all the way to 15 here in this first round of the day. Shame's O-line pictured there, ready on the line, all 7. The Amp coach is still making adjustments right up until that kind of last 5 seconds here. Really staying in the ear of their D-line and making sure they have the right setup here. All right, taking over right near the brick mark. Shame, you can see Henry Ng, big poach in the lane here, although, yeah, he's sort of playing a little bit of free safety while maybe a tighter mark on some of the other handlers in space. And there's a slight miscue from Shame, just a little too far in front on that lefty backhand.
Setup was interesting from Shame. They have, all of their women on the field are upfield and cutter positions, and sort of the man-matching handler set. That's, been pretty much their MO, and I think it works well for them.
And just a tried to pump fake that one, but let go of the disc. Just a little error there, a little bobble. Gets Shame back with this disc here. And a huge bid by Henry Ng. And then a huge D, although a lot of contact on that one. I think they're going to have a little discussion here. Lindsay McKenna kind of came through the body there, but was in prime position to make that D. Maybe we'll...
Yeah, that did look like a foul. I mean, she went into her body from the back. There was also hand contact. Yeah, that's a good foul call.
Yeah, okay. We're good.
We're good?
Yep.
Foul called, no contest. Okay, foul, no contest.
That's the right outcome.
Staying here.
Yep, just as you said it. That's what the players decided as well. Shame here in the red zone. Looking end zone right off the first throw and off the hand, but maybe an adjustment. Yes, nice readjustment by Shame as that one tipped up in the air. No, excuse me, it was out the back. Oh my goodness. They got 2 lines back there. They're playing tricks on me. I thought that one was caught, but it was just a step or 2 outside the back of the end zone. So Amp another chance there.
That's something where it's helpful to have an observer on that line back there. You don't have to be like, did you see my feet? I didn't look at my feet. Where are my feet? You have someone there immediately making that call from you, allows that possession to kind of turn over and move on.
On away with the flick out to space here, and here's a shot from Amp. 2 Amp players going to get underneath this one in a rundown, but Shame nicely puts 4 bodies on that one as well, makes that numbers advantage work to their favor.
Yeah, Shame D ready to kind of run off on that poach. That's a good heads-up play by them. Rachel Alfano had some space and is a very fast cutter, and Shame was ready for it and ran down, was able to poach off.
Yeah, we've seen both sets of defenses do a nice job getting the numbers advantage on some of those floaty hucks. And here is a huck into the end zone. That one should work for Shame. It does. Nice flick out to space to Ethan Peck there, pulls it down.
Ethan Peck, former Philly resident for a couple years, played in Philly, moved out to Colorado.
Was he on AMP in the past?
He was not. He played for the Open teams.
Gotcha.
Southpaw, Patrol. I don't know if he played Southpaw. Definitely Patrol. Maybe Southpaw as well.
Maybe has a little date on the Philly style, though.
Yeah, definitely has been around, is friends with some of these people.
And there we can see on the replay, that one was a step or two out of the way. I was too excited there. Thought it was a nice second effort. I thought it was maybe in bounds. And there's the nicely weighted flick out to space. We've seen a few of those where just puts a little edge on the disc, and it's so difficult for the defender to catch up. There was good separation there, so nice conversion there for Shame. Ties it up at 10s. Pace actually maybe slowing down a little bit here. We've seen a little more back and forth. Are legs becoming a factor first round of the tournament? Just late in the game, are people starting to feel it a little bit, maybe lungs or something? What's your read on the fitness levels here?
Yeah, I think it's probably legs. I think there's been, not super long points again, but a lot of, I have to sprint deep to do that. Now I have to sprint deep on offense. It's just a lot of deep running without much conversion.
Sure.
So that's just changing the pace of the game a bit.
And maybe because this is the biggest, biggest game of your season thus far, the biggest tournament, maybe you are expending energy a little differently. Maybe you're not kind of pacing yourself the same way you would at tournaments earlier in the year. So, yeah, 10-10, still super tight game here. Amp on serve. Nice flick into the open space there, well fielded by Philadelphia. It's lane dodge with the stumbling grab, well handled. And here we see Amp getting comfortable again. I mean, this is where they've looked so good all game. They get into these situations. They're not taking needless shots. They're happy to get resets and play give-go with their trusted handlers. And we can see here, no mark and a flick out to space. This one curling into the offensive player. Nicely fielded there. Who pulled that one down?
Calvin Trissolini.
Nicely done by Trissolini.
We've seen the Sean Mott, Calvin Trissolini connection a couple times already, and that was a more patient look there. Calvin, obviously, usually in the handler set, goes upfield, takes some of the space. He trusts, Sean Mott's back there, Will Helensky's back there. We have the throwers that can get it to me. I'm allowed to go upfield, which is a huge strength of AMP, is that, the handlers can be dynamic and go be cutters and receivers too. Makes a great play over the defender there. That's a great read by the Shame defender, sort of being right in the mix.
I was going to echo the same thing. I mean, just doesn't have kind of the height there or the ability to get up that throw up pretty high, but that was a nice positioning there. And we can see Trissolini, a goal, 2 assists, 1 turn today. But we'll excuse that one if you're putting up some numbers like that.
Nah,
it's okay.
Don't excuse it.
No turns excused?
No turns.
What's the do you ever, as a team, let's say a theoretical AMP team in the past, or if you were coaching now, would you set a turn goal for a tournament like this, or a weekend or a game? Like, how is that?
No, never as a team.
Okay.
No, I think individuals probably more than like a team turn, but no, never had like a team-wide goal.
How many turns do you allow yourself in a tournament?
I prefer 0. I
prefer
usually go for 0.
Me too. All right. AMP with the pull. I've been impressed. Both teams have, no win, so not a lot to contend with, but both teams have pulled and covered these pulls pretty nicely with their D-lines. Shame here taking over kind of on the near sideline. A bit of a high stall count situation to start this point. Good coverage here from AMP. No big cuts in the deep space. I think a pick's coming from the middle of the stack there. We haven't seen the big streaking deep cuts yet from this Shame O-line. They have a chance now to kind of set up, and like you were mentioning before, a lot of space in between the disc here and the cutters. A lot of room to work with here for Shame.
Yeah, that's been giving Shame these really huge gainers for the full field, and that's something that I think is just awesome and is keeping them so close in this game, is that amount of space they can get on these upfield undercuts. It's not like I'm jamming it to the side for 10 yards. I'm getting 20, 30 yards on these.
And we saw Kevin Johnson making an athletic right-handed grab there in front of the outstretched arm of a AMP defender, and in the red zone is Shame. That one might be in. Oh, what a block! Holy moly.
Danielle Walsh able to read that one, pick it off.
Putting her whole chest into that one.
She loves the pressure. She loves these kind of high-pressure games.
A bit slow to get up, and that one over the hand, but oh, man. That little touch saved possibly a goal or at least a reception there from Philadelphia.
That seemed a little bit of that impatience. Again, you're going to take shots to Henry Ing. No one wants you to stop doing that. But if you're going to, you know, take that one, give it an extra second. He'll get the yards. Don't need to throw it low. Step out.
And
really nice heads-up play by the defender there and good communication, and they're ready for it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He did have some separation, so I think that extra second could have helped. Back and forth point here. Shame back within that brick mark range, and a couple sliding grabs in a row here from Shame to save possessions on that far sideline into the end zone. Yes, they find it. And it was Kevin Johnson again. Kevin Johnson, nice point from him, all over the place, getting resets, making athletic grabs, and then ultimately punching that one in.
Yeah, the narrative changed a bit from the beginning. I think both teams now on the end zone are a little more patient, are waiting for the space, not taking as many deep looks immediately, are sort of ready for that. We're going to find, we'll just wait here until it happens, but it's also not allowing for as many, you know, like away shots, as many creative throws as we saw in the first game. It's pretty standard open side looks, just hitting it to a person with one step.
And there is that layout again from Danielle Walsh. Just heads up play, puts herself in front of it. I mean, what an effort. You can see it. You can see that look on, you can see that body language that she put all of herself into making sure to get there. And here's that second effort by the Shame defender there, just going over the top, preventing that huck from connecting. And there it is, a dicey one on the end zone line, but it is a conversion for Shame. I mean, they'll take it either way. They're happy to be here 11-11. And this is something they kind of, oh, we're just happy to be at Nationals. Oh, we're, you know, oh, the hard part's done. We got here. But they're 11-11 with one of the top seeds in the tournament, and they're looking really strong right now. I can't stress enough how, for real, I think they are, and maybe they're discounting themselves on purpose to get a little mental edge or something. But they're right here with AMP, you know, one of the best teams in this division. And they've nice coverage here right off the pull. I mean, no let up here from Fort Collins Shame.
Looks like some of the positioning is switched to taking away more of the unders, almost pushing AMP to throw more away.
And there's a slight overthrow from AMP. Shame a chance to regain the lead here late in this game on the red zone. That one into the end zone. I think that will be a conversion. It is. Shame up 12-11. I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, it's just simple conversion. It's a very offensive heavy game. It's just an upline cut, you know, not making the effort to get on the open side there. Taking what's in front of you.
We're going to see that overthrow here. A nice bid, but just past the outstretched arms.
I think the Shame D there did exactly what they wanted. They wanted AMP to play horizontally. They wanted them to throw more throws, you know, in the handler set. They didn't want to get that vertical attack space, and so they pushed them, and then they turn it on a swing.
You see Casey Anderson pulling down his second goal for the day. Nicely done by him, putting himself in position there on the end zone. Okay, does it get a little nervy now? 12-11, you're AMP. You're down one. You just missed an opportunity there with an overthrow. Are the nerves building up a little bit, or
sure? I think
ship's
so.
Pretty straight still.
Yeah, I don't think they're detrimental nerves. Is that a phrase?
We're coining it today. I like it.
I think there's good nerves, and I think you're going to be a little
edge.
Feel the adrenaline, feel the edge, feel the nerves, but you know that's what separates the best teams, right? Playing in that discomfort, playing in that pressure. I know, you know, personally that's what I love, and that's what a lot of athletes at this level live for. They want to be in those high pressure games, those intense situations. They want to feel that.
Yeah, and I think if you've taken a look at this pool before the game started, you might not have pictured it here quite so close. AMP being the powerhouse that they are, and all credit here to Shame keeping this one scary for AMP. And again, good defensive set here from Shame, preventing any sort of upfield momentum. And again, like you mentioned, they're pushing him pushing him horizontal, a lot of passes. It's like I think a pick here. We're seeing a thumbs up upfield. Thinks everybody is in order now. That flick, just a little too much. Shane with another chance. Could convert 2 breaks in a row here late in the second half. And there's a nice double move by Sam, finding some space. Not a lot of field to work with, not a lot of cutters upfield to work with here for Shame as they readjust their stack here back into the middle of the field, right at about the half field mark. Working it up that far sideline. And maybe it just seemed a step quick right now. Shame seems to be finding those separations on all their cuts and getting the resets where they need them. In the end zone here is a flick underneath for a break. 2 in a row for Shame. In pole position, 13-11 here.
Shame's doing the little stuff right. They're hitting those throws. They're hitting the 10-yard passes. They're throwing the fakes that are getting the around. Kira Haruzhnikova there, I think, had a great point. She had, 3 unders, got it back, distributed the disc, was taking the space that was given to her and finding the open players and distributing the disc. I know she didn't sort of end with the assist or the goal, but was hugely impactful in that point. Just sort of open for space, giving the disc back to the open people, resetting the stall count. Really important player in that point.
Agreed, and it was number 15, Spencer Tibbs, with that flick right underneath the arm of the mark there, out into space. That tricky angle there, but Amp not close enough to put enough pressure to stop that one from getting in the end zone. Looks like we do have a timeout here. I didn't see who took the timeout, but both teams huddled up here, kind of close to each other actually. So while we're doing that, we'll take a quick station break. Hundreds of dollars for jerseys in this economy. Breakmark has full kit bundles starting at $75, and they're giving away reversibles for free. Better go to breakmark.com before it is too late. And Amp needs to convert this O point and get a break before it's too late here, or they could watch their 1 seed kind of slip out of their hands early in this tournament.
3 seed.
Sorry, 1 seed in the pool, you're right. 3 seed overall, 1 seed in the
oh yeah,
in the pool.
Sorry.
No, we're on the same page here. Again, loss here, not a death blow by any means. Although going 3-0 in your pool, winning your pool, pays big dividends because you will skip a pre-quarters game. Dre, how big is it to just get 1 less game in a weekend if you're on a championship run? How much does that matter?
Yeah, I think it's significant. I think obviously you want to play, you want all the reps, and it's not a truly harmful game if you have to play it, but it does give some of those injuries, some of those, you've played for a couple days already, to have that extra game break is really nice.
Yeah, and as far as volume, today's the most. 3 games today. I mean, that's the most you're going to play any day of this weekend. So front-loaded as far as the amount of effort you're going to have to put out here as both these teams get ready to take the field back. Shame a nice, easy-paced backhand. That's a great pull there. Amp taking over here. That sort of horizontal, maybe hybrid stack like you were mentioning earlier. Flat mark there from Shame, preventing that first deep look. Amp resets it back into the horizontal space. And there's that lefty flick. Ooh, slightly close throw there, but Amp cruising here. And that one just a bit too high off the hand of Linda Morse.
Yeah, it's the small executional stuff for Amp. These last few points, it's just been off the hand or a little bit too far of a swing, or not connecting on the deep. It's the small, simple stuff.
Let's see if Shame takes over here and works this one or looks to get into the deep space. Right now, good coverage from Amp upfield. This one a little dicey, but fielded. This could be an opportunity for another break here for Shame. Ooh, and a slight overthrow on the backhand, but enough float on that one to recover. Spencer Tibbs throws that one back. Good resets here from Shame. Some upfield cuts, some movement out of the back of the stack, but Not a ton. There's a reset there to the far side, switching the field, and here's a shot to the end zone. Just a bit too far, I thought. Uh-oh. It's like Tibbs kind of took a knee there. Maybe just ran out of steam there at the last second. It seemed like he had a good line to that disc, but a little too far in front. Amp takes over here. It's a vertical stack and a cut to the deep space here to start for Philadelphia. And there's a big backhand out to space. Nicely read there by Philadelphia. They're on the doorstep now, and they'll find Henry Ing in the end zone with a big emphatic spike. Nicely done there by Philadelphia. What'd you see, Dre?
Yeah, you love to see sort of the woman matching player to woman matching player connection, especially to break the field open like that. And, you know, Danielle Walsh has the big backhand. Linda Morris has space. That's sort of a gimme throw, and they were able to execute that. Henry read the play really well to follow it and was sort of there for the simple score. But these plays, and I think you can tell the way they're sort of subbing now is they're sort of playing some of their veteran players, and allowing Linda the space to run onto that is really great. She's super hard to stop in that area.
Yeah, I loved how she curled her cut there and put her body in the perfect position where even if the defender was close, would have had a lot of trouble going through to get to that disc. So great awareness there. Way to adjust the cut mid-flight to maximize that one. Yeah, and we're going to take a look here. Some of the miscues here from Amp. Some of those overthrows, like you were saying, some of those small mistakes. Dre, what are you seeing here from Amp? You already kind of highlighted it, but
yeah, they're fine decisions. They're not super risky. It's just a little high or a little out of reach, or the cutter wasn't there. It seems almost like the cutters are not running full speed on some of these, and so that's making it a little bit tough to throw. I think, you know, they're cutting to the sideline instead of showing the thrower their shoulders and saying, like, I'm going to cut to you full speed going your direction. It's like, oh, I might be curling to the sideline a bit, and then we're trying to throw that, and it's, you know, getting a little bit high.
And here is Shame on this near sideline at about half field here. Running these cuts really hard is the Fort Collins side. And finding a lot of space in the middle and a give-go little reset here. Shame playing with tons of pace here, trying to get this conversion. A quick double move and a triple move, actually. Will that be in? No, not quite. Foot on the line there, it looked like. High stall count situation. Shame does find their reset. Big space here to the backhand break side. And a cut coming across, but well defended here by Amp. Amp trying to clamp this down. Prevent anything, any funny business coming out of the back of the stack. Here is a break to the end zone, and it will be a conversion. Number 52, Nicholas Snuska, I believe. That's how you say it. Pulls that one down to throw a tiny bit behind him, but he adjusted well and pulled that in with two hands there.
Had the right pace, had the right zip on it there to get through, even though it was a tightly contested throw.
14-12 here. Shame in the heavy driver's seat position. I think we saw on screen about 50 seconds until the cap, so I believe it would go on after the next point. We're playing to 15, essentially, is what's going to happen here. And Amp will be taking over on offense. Shame playing a really great second half here. Like we highlighted a couple Amp mistakes, but credit to Shame for converting those mistakes and punishing them when they have the disc. Not converting all their opportunities, but doing a nice job punishing some of the mistakes from Philadelphia.
Also Shame being able to switch their game. They are known for taking deep shots and converting them and taking them aggressively, and they cut down on those. They saw that they were turning some, and they changed the way they were playing a lit. I think they're still taking some away shots, but they've also decided to convert on the shorter open side, break side, end zone looks, and they've been able to sort of shift their main strength to converting when they had to.
Yeah, I've been impressed with both teams in that red zone space, taking their time, finding their resets, not taking too many shots that are questionable. Yeah, and like you said, Shame, I mean, Amp known for the ability to convert. Shame known as, like you said, a bit of a higher variability team looking to shoot deep, and they had some of that in the first half, but yeah, really calmed down and made the most of it in the second half, and that's got them the 14-12 advantage here. And this is a game to 15, so Shame is on a break to win potentially here.
AMP choosing to go for win matching players, ready for their sort of, to highlight that strength like I said before, and I think that's where they feel they have a lot of depth and power, and choosing to at this point in the game when you really need an O-line conversion just shows how much they, believe in them. And not to discredit any of the man-matching players, but it's really nice to sort of see that a team values that and will do it at the biggest, most important points.
Yeah, and maybe detecting also a matchup advantage against this Shame squad, not to take anything away from their women matching players like we're saying. I mean, I just think these AMP women matching players are just so strong, both, like we said, throwing the disc and on big cuts under, although there will be a couple male matching players fielding this one. Sean Mott here with the disc, nice leaping grab. Tricky lefty there out to space for Mozafari. AMP working this through a lot of different players already have touched this disc, and nice cut to the deep space, maybe just a second too early there for AMP to find, or maybe they're waiting for the right thrower here. And that could be Sean Mott as he does shoot. Lefty backhand over the top. Ooh, a shoestring grab. Just puts the left hand on it, and they are, no pun intended, they're amped. They're ready to go. They need to get this momentum going if they want to win this game. And that was step one right there, getting their offensive hold.
A lot of balance there between we are going to swing it until we get yards, and then we're going to set up a power thrower to a power cutter. Didn't necessarily need to be any two specific people. AMP had a lot of that on that line, but I liked the fact that it was like Linda Moore swinging, an upline cut, another swing, a lot of patience until they could find that flow into a deep away stretch for Will to score that.
Yeah, and we saw Will there going up with both hands, but kind of not seeing it until it was just in his left hand there. So I assume he's a righty. I think he's a righty. Is that correct?
He is, yep.
Yeah, so an offhanded grab there. Good control there with the hands. Make sure you grab that one. It looked a little dicey, but pulled that one down. Okay, so that's step one for AMP. Here comes step two. They need to convert this break. Shame is on O with a chance to put this game away, and we just felt a little bit of wind kind of blowing across this field, actually. Yeah, blowing right into our faces here. I don't know if that'll have a big effect on this point. It's not a strong wind, but it's certainly more noticeable than it was just about 5 minutes ago. All right, Shame with a chance to close this game out here, 14-13. Good coverage here by AMP. And it's straight, a look straight to the dump, although a nice long undercut there. That's Jade. Jade has had these great long 20, 30-yard undercuts all day today.
Yeah, just relentless cutting to the right spot. Always can sort of get the edge on her passes, and then goes upfield and does it again.
Looks like there was a call upfield, getting everybody in the right spot. This one's a low stall count situation.
Yeah, there's no stall.
Yeah.
Coming in on one here. Violation, everybody got going a little too quick, so they're gonna tell everybody rewind it here 20 seconds. Let's get it back underway. Those lefty around flick breaks have just been working so well for both teams today. Shame still keeping it pretty measured here, not looking end zone just yet. It's Kevin Johnson, that big backhand around. Nicely fielded. You can hear the tension kind of building. Both sidelines very engaged here, encouraging their respective teams on the field.
The patience from Shame, they don't look, flustered. They look like we will find an open pass.
And
we'll take
in fact,
the space,
they do. Shame converts 15 15-13 for the huge upset here. First round of the day. Amp fell behind late, and Shame, they're kind of holding their heads. They almost can't believe it. A great win here in the first round for Fort Collins. Dre, what did you see here? Did you expect something like this so early on in the tournament?
I don't know that I had a full expectation of the outcome. I think, you know, you want to see a good game. I think both teams need to show that they're awake, show that they're here, ready to play. I think Fort Collins was willing to shift their game and be patient and, you know, play to their multiple strengths across their roster. They used a lot of the depth of their team and did the little stuff right.
Yeah, agreed. And that last point highlighted the patience there. I mean, they took tons of throws and waited for that perfect look, that up the line look there, and they converted. That was Aubrey Dietrich, I think.
They did not give the disc away much. There was a couple great Amp Ds. We saw the one from Walsh in the second half. And I think, you know, a lot of it is if they weren't going to get Ds, Shame wasn't turning it. They weren't going to cough up the disc, and that was hugely important for them, and able to make those executional plays.
Yeah, and both teams huddling up here. Again, like we said, first game of the weekend. 2 more games today, and neither team is going to be too distraught or too happy about this. Plenty of work to do. As you can see here, again, the stats very, very similar, Dre. You mentioned that at halftime. I mean, we can see the breaks is kind of the only place Shame pulls ahead, and that's where it counts.
And you could see Amp was getting the Ds and then would turn it from that line. They got the turns they needed and then could not convert offensively. And when Shame got the D, they converted. It was just a matter of, you know, both teams were getting Ds, were similar amount of turnovers. It's just who's going to convert once you get the disc back.
Yeah, that razor-thin margin. I mean, 2 turnovers more for Amp, and that led to 2 more breaks for Shame. All right. And we have another upset from one of the other pools. Dirty Bird upsets Dragon Thrust, actually. So, and we have another one, Red Flag over Toro. So the mixed division already getting a little wild here in the 9 o'clock round. There's been big upsets going around. And if you head over to Ultiworld, we're going to be here broadcasting games all day, and you can go over to the website and get the latest scores and reports and information. I guess the mixed division already going wild, and we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back with Chris Mazer in just a second.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change
around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young.
And still a perfect circle.
Of fair play,
Athletic pursuit.
And camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network.
Before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias.
And understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we
pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
All right, back here at the fields, the upset complete for Shame, taking that one 15-13. And Dre, we mentioned it kind of right at half that Shame like playing from behind. Looks like we're going to get an interview on field here from Chris Mazer with Ryan Morgan. Just a second.
Hi, I am here with Ryan Daly Morgan of Shame, period. What a game that we just watched. Big upsets all over the division. But more importantly, I'm curious, when you go back and look at this, how are you going to correct the mistake of all the patience you showed at the end of that game to punch in the winning score?
Yeah, we talked about some of that at halftime, not falling into that patience trap. And our decision was we have a bye next round, and we're going to go to some adult beverage stores and really do some work to correct it for the remainder of the day.
You know, there's some legends of this team that are playing again. Jake Juzak, one of them. But, you know, the defensive pressure that the imprint of Joe Anderson and what he's left on this program, can you talk a little bit about that? Because he really changed the scope for this team for the long term, I think.
Yeah, Joe has been a cornerstone of the team for many years, and we missed him this year. He messaged everyone this morning with some words of encouragement, which I think a lot of us took to heart.
Amazing. And to run the same play for your offense on the very first point of the game and the very last point of the game, and they stopped it the second time. Impressive, and to be a little more serious here, impressive stuff to show the resilience when AMP made some adjustments against you. Hats off. Anything you want to say to everyone out there watching and rooting for Shame? Because clearly you're a top pick now.
Well, first off, I mean, I will say, you know, hats off to AMP. They are a top-tier team, and this is just one of those games that it's kind of a coin flip sometimes. I'm not at all surprised that they made an adjustment on our one offensive play that we have in our arsenal. But you know, we're going to have to figure out a way to get past that, and it's probably going to mean hucking deeper, which is probably the problem. The only thing I'd say to our fans out there is that our quasi-coach Harrison, who doesn't want to come anyway, you can cancel your flight now.
That's all. Thanks for being here. Thanks to Sam and Dre in the booth, and thanks to Ryan, and good luck for the rest of the way.
All right. Like we heard there, Shame happy to take this one 15-13. Dre, you mentioned kind of around halftime that they liked playing from behind, and they were down at halftime. What did you think about their comeback here as we see some highlights?
Yeah, they talked about patience. I mean, it was pretty close through the end. It was just like offensive hold. I think the AMP marks, you know, didn't pressure them enough. They sort of were not making them have to think about taking different shots. They were like, if we want to shoot this deep shot, we'll shoot it. If we want to take this around, we have it. There wasn't a ton of physical pressure and presence on those marks to make Shame uncomfortable, and I think they could have done that. And then for the pressure that AMP did give Shame, they were just willing to handle it. They stayed really consistent.
Yeah, and we saw big plays on both sides, but we saw Shame a little cooler under pressure there. Implications for the tournament at large. I mean, this is AMP dropping a game, not out of it yet by any means, still a top-tier team like the Shame player mentioned. So going into the second round, mixed division is a little upside down already. For Dre, my name's Sam Swink. We are signing out here, Multi-World Round 1, 15-13, Shame.